Hello my dear friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Maria and today I'm gonna talk about region called Lapta that's located in Northern Cyprus. Why that is because a lot and more inquiries coming in from the clientele asking me to tell more information, give more information about this region, what it is about, why is it becoming popular, and why people like it so much. So, and aside of the fact, of course, I live here myself, right? And let me tell you that it's actually one of my favorite spots in the whole of Northern Cyprus. So let's begin. Lapta has a long history of 3,000 years, okay? It was actually one of the richest cities, but the name of Lapta back in the days. There was a lot of trade going on, there was a lot of fishing as well as farming, but that was not until 7th century when the attack came in and majority of the people moved inland and the place became very empty. But particularly for that reason, today browsing, walking around, you can find a lot of ancient type of buildings. You know, we have a lot of churches, there's quite a bit of mosaics, a lot of ruins that are being present up to today's date that you can see among the new construction buildings. Okay, that makes this place very unique, very charming, with a lot of things to see basically, right? Even though Lapta is becoming more popular among relacants, it still offers you that natural surrounding, a lot more lush greenery and peace. The population, the construction itself is not as intense and the population is not as intense. So there is a lot more space in between the buildings, let's say if we compare it to Alsancak or any other regions close to Kyrenia. So aside of natural surrounding, lush greenery and a lot more peace and quiet, Lapta has a lot of amenities to offer. Let me start with the beachfronts, right? We have one of the big pools of beaches going one after another along the coastline, right? Let's say myself, I live about 800 meters away from the seafront, and as I go down to the beach side, the first place that I face is a restaurant called Driftwood. Driftwood has its own private sandy coast, right, that you don't have to pay to access, but then of course they would expect you to spend some money at the restaurant. So aside of Driftwood, the next one would be Chill Bar. Chill Bar is a bar and a restaurant that has some sort of night performances or sunset raves. They have their own little beach, sandy coast. As well as that, we have Marmaris. That's a public beach, right? That's accessible to everyone. You don't have to pay to enter it, but then if you would require a sunbed or chaise-longue, you would be expected to pay at least like 50 Turkish lira. Marmaris also has a boutique hotel within the beach side, and that boutique hotel offers the restaurant amenities, and as well as that, they offer a pool next to the seafront, right? If you don't like to swim in the sea, but you want to be next to it, you can swim in the pool, but then you would be expected to pay a little bit more to pay to use that facility. And there is also, the fanciest place that we have in here is called Sunas Beach Club. Sunas Beach Club was built only a couple of years ago. It's designed in a very unique way. They have water breaks going into the sea, and they have a cabanas, like a little bungalows placed on that water breaks, right? There was a lot of investment done to build that, and of course there is a very big fancy type of restaurant next to it. And that restaurant also has night performances. Some of them are very unique, and you know, plenty of dishes and variety of food to choose from. But then, of course, because it's so fancy and required a lot of investment, they would expect you to place at least 1,000 Turkish lira deposit to spend within a restaurant to enter that facility. So that would be just to name a few. As you've noticed, you know, all the beach sides, they come with a restaurant. But we have about, as I said, we have a few beach clubs, but then at the same time, restaurants, the variety of it, it's a lot more. Aside of the ones that I've named, we also have Silver Rocks. We have an amazing restaurant called Calamari. We have Ezic, and as everybody knows, Ezic is a chain type of restaurant. I mean, everybody who lives in Northern Cyprus knows. Ezic is a chain type of restaurants that they all normally would implement in very crowded places. They've picked Lapta for some reasons, and the reasons because Lapta is becoming more and more popular nowadays. So Ezic was built a couple of years ago as well, right on the water. An amazing facility, a very fancy one, and amazing food, decent prices. It's always full. I mean, you do have to book a table to get there on a weekend. So as many restaurants as we have, trust me, they're always busy. Why? Because it's a place of attraction for tourism. More and more tourists do prefer this particular place, especially when they come with children. Besides of restaurant and variety of beaches that we also have a Lapta walkway. Lapta walkway stretches along the coast for about 5 kilometers length. Okay, it was sponsored by European Union some years ago, and now it's being upgraded by the local authorities. Okay, they've put lights on the top of it, they've put some places to sit, And they also further have plans to sort of put some kids' playgrounds along the Lapta walkway and do something else. So little restaurants, little cafeterias, things like that. And also, when we do have like big festivals, they're always conducted by the Lapta walkway because there is a lot of space next to it. If we talk about housing market, I would say half of Lapta is allocated to mainly villas. Again, majority of it, it's an old fond, but there is quite a bit of new construction going on. And half of Lapta is allocated to apartment blocks. It's normally not more than 3 floors. We have quite a bit of restrictions on construction in here in terms of density on the land. That's why there is a lot more greenery than in any other places. So you can, if you look to buy a house in here or you look to buy an apartment, you have a choice. You have a choice of an old housing that was built 5 to 10 to 15 years ago, and you have a choice of new construction that's going on. But as we all know, a new housing would cost you quite a bit more comparing to the house that's already been built and on resale market, right? So on a resale market today, you would expect to pay anywhere from 100 to 130,000 pounds for 2-bedroom apartment. Fully furnished, not brand new, but not too old. I would say maybe like 5 to 7 to 10 years of age, in a very decent condition. But that would be the price range that you expected to pay. Of course, the further you move towards the mountains, the cheaper the property is. The closer you're to the seafront, the more expensive it is. If we talk about new housing, that quite a bit of is going on right now in Lapta, you would expect to pay anywhere from 150,000 pounds to all the way to 200,000 pounds for 2-bedroom apartment in a similar type of fund. Okay, so bear that in mind. I mean, new housing is always gives you the flexibility in terms of financials. You have the payment plan and you can customize your apartment to your liking, but then you would expect to pay quite a bit more comparing to the resale. So one thing to mention is that like we have quite a bit of choice when it comes to new developments, but when it comes to resales, trust me, the choices are limited because Lapta is not the place that you would want to live for good. I mean, people that buy property in here initially, they are either locals, either they're relocants that come in here to live permanently. If for some reasons those people decide to leave Northern Cyprus and go back to their home country or relocate to some other place, they would normally leave the property behind themselves. Why? Because Lapta is becoming a lot more popular in terms of the tourism, right? And you can earn quite a bit of income renting your apartment out on a daily basis as well as monthly basis. So if you look for a long-term apartment for rental in here, you would pay anywhere from 5 to 600 pounds all the way to 800 pounds per month, depending on the quality of the building, right, and how old it is. If you are renting short term, you would expect to pay roughly 70 euros per night. So you just, multiply it by so many days, especially during season time, it gives you quite a bit of income. So people don't usually sell the properties in here. It's very unique opportunities if you do find a really good resale at a very good price. So those options are very rare, but then again, as I said, if Lapta is up with your choice, you can always pick up from a construction site. As I mentioned, Lapta was a lot more quieter when it was like 10 years ago or so, right? But now it's becoming more and more popular, and aside of the amenities that it has to offer, natural surrounding, there are also government plan for expansion, right? And those plans include expanding the roads. So for the last 2 years, we had an ongoing project that goes all the way from not from central Girne, but I would say anywhere from Yesheltepe or Erdemit all the way to Kashiaka. The government has been investing the money into road expansions. So that's why it becomes so easy right now to get from Lapta to Girne, because our roads has been expanded into 4 lanes. There is no such thing as traffic anymore, and the region undergoing major development right now in that sort of sense. We have under road walkway being built, so people can cross the road easily to get to the beach fronts, right, from the mainland, things like that. So Lapta potentially, even though it's a little bit cheaper than Alsancak or any other regions like Edermit or Karamanlı, for now it's a little bit cheaper, but it has a lot more potential in terms of capital growth for the property. So bear that in mind when you're picking the region to live in. One major factor that's making this place very suitable for young relocants is the close position to the Nijad British College. Nijad British College is one of the best schools in Northern Cyprus. I will say there are 2 best schools, English School of Karenia and Nijad British College. So NBC is located in Alsancak, and Alsancak is located very next to Lapta, right? So I would say every single morning when I take my son to school, who goes to Nijad British College, it only takes us 5 minutes to get there. So I would say it's 3.5 kilometers away from us. And as I said, NBC is located in the heart of Alsancak and we are located in the heart of Lapta. It just gives you an idea how tiny the regions are. They are very small, no matter whether it's Lapta, Alsancak, Şeltepe or Karanolu, you know, all those regions that are not big, because as many of them as there are, we are one of the latest regions, right, the furthest ones away from central Girne. It only takes us 15 minutes, or all in all, it's only 15 kilometers away from us. Lapta is also charming with the small cafes and restaurants located on the mountainside. I don't usually go there, but I know those places exist, you know, things like bars where people can watch football, so on. No matter how long I've been living here, I would always keep on exploring new places. It's a very unique type of location. It has so much charm in it, so much nature and so much natural beauty and greenery that you would never want to exchange it for anything else. If you finally get to visit Northern Cyprus, make sure you visit Lapta, and I'm sure you're going to fall in love with it. If you would like to add anything extra to my comments, you know, feel free to comment below. If you do have any specific questions, or if you'd like to inquire about the properties, please feel free to reach out to me directly. I will happily answer any of your inquiries. As well as that, don't forget to subscribe to my Telegram channel, where you will find a lot of useful information regarding properties, laws, regulation process, changes in the regulations, and just general life in Northern Cyprus. Thank you so much for watching, my dear friends. It was nice to have you. See you next time.